Religious chains, we changing the way. Religious ways, we changing the game. Changing the game. Good morning, folks. Good morning, good people. Good morning, world. It's Judge Logic. Having my morning tea with you guys. Look at my lips. You don't need lip gloss. You just need coconut oil in your tea. And you come out with lips like this. And excuse me, this morning, it's a little hard. It's hard to wake up with hair this good every day, in the morning.
Gracias.
So excuse me for the time taken. Let's get it started. What motivated this talk with you guys today was a conversation with an ex yesterday. We haven't spoken in a while. And I basically asked, what happened that you're not interested in knowing who I am anymore? We were friends before. And one of the things we said is that we would keep the friendship going, which is why you should watch my series on detachment. Detachment is so important because when you go through these hard things in life that you have no control over, like a death of a loved one, a bad relationship breakup, a friend not wanting to speak to you no more because of something they did, things are out of your control. The situation's out of your hands. It'll help. What helped me a lot on my journey in detachment is my studies with Buddhism. Buddhism goes deeply into detachment. And it takes work. It takes practice. Some people don't believe it's real, but it's real. Again, when Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead in the Bible, he's talking about detachment. When he's talking about, I have no mother, I have no brothers, I have no sisters. You are my brothers. You are my detach. It's not as a rule book. It's advice for you. These books are giving you advice on how to make your path easier, how to make your life better in here, which makes it better out here. The friend,
the ex, she said,
No, I know exactly who you are, and something along the lines of, I know who you are, and I always love you.
And I said, just remember, we use that word so freely, love. And it's because it has so many different definitions at this point. I love my mother different than I love my brother. I love my brother different than I love my wife. I love my wife different than I love my friend. I love my friend different than I love my dog. I love my dog different than I love the food I eat. I love the food I eat different than the clothes I wear. It's used so much, it's been watered down. Love is not just a word. And all you people are using it just as a word. It's so used now. I love you, bro. I love you, man. They say it so much, but what does it mean? I personally believe love is an action. I don't care to hear people tell me whether they love me or not. I know. And there's different actions for different people. Like the scripture in the Bible where the woman gives 2 talents and basically Jesus says this gift is greater than the rest of the gifts. I'm always paraphrasing because in church people always do Ecclesiastes 35 to the 7th power and John 4th to the EM equals M squared. And if you read the Bible and you study it, you know the stories I'm talking about. I don't need to show you exactly where it is in the Bible. You know the stories. And if you don't, then you either trust me or you go look it up for yourself and read it and, study to show yourself approved. Meaning, like if you want to understand this, overstand these truths and study the words, not as a rule book, but as a book of advice. So love is an action. And that's where I want to go. That's where this is all leading me. because everybody says they love this and they love that. But where's the proof is in the pudding? You can tell by who does what. And I use that scripture with the lady with the 2 mites, because if a very wealthy person, a multimillionaire gives you $20, it's not the same as if somebody working at McDonald's or, really struggling week to week, and they give you $20. It's a difference. There's more love involved when there's more sacrifice involved. How do you know? Because it's harder to do. Love comes with an action. Love comes with proof. And the proof is you're sacrificing to help this person. There's the love, the action of sacrifice. It's costing you something, whether it's time, money, whatever it is, it would cost you something, because you're doing it because you care about the person, because you love the person. I've lived in different countries overseas, and a common denominator is everybody says, I love God.
I love God.
I love God.
I love God. What does that mean? I know many people believe loving God is to obey God. I disagree. I bang my ground to that, because love is not obedience. Because I love my mother, I love my aunts, I love my uncle, I love everybody who gave me advice on how to live life the right way, and I still chose the wrong routes. So it had nothing to do with love. So I banged the gravel. That's not logical that if you love God, you will obey him. If you trust God, you will obey him. Not love. Love is different. You can love somebody and still not do everything they tell you. You can love your husband and still not do everything they tell you. You can love your wife and do everything they tell you. So that's not love. People believe praise and worship is love. Personally, I don't even want to hear half of y'all sing. So you're telling me that God, that your sacrifice to God is singing to him. You're praising and worshiping him. What are you doing for God? I have to bang my gravel on that. What do you think that actually does for God when you're in church singing? In actuality, it does something for you. You repeating those words in your head, singing those words as you sing a song, Thank You for Your Mercy. You begin to think about a situation in your head where the divine came in and helped you in a situation. And now that touches a place in your heart that opens you up. And now you're in tears and you're at a high level of emotion, not because God is there, not because God touched your spirit, because you remember the place where you had help before. And I want to address something really quick. A comment made. Somebody asked me, well, the things you say about God aren't logical. And that's my point. That's my point. The only thing illogical is God. Allah. Whatever you believe it is, that's the only thing illogical. If you would have asked me, where does God lie? I would say grace and mercy. Because the only time I see the supernatural is when I need help. When I say, please come help me with this situation, and the answer comes. Those who are on the path or the journey know how many supernatural, miraculous things we see. And of course, you can attribute it to anything. And that's the point of me always saying that God is a 3-letter word that we use to describe what we can't explain. Hence the tattoo. They say God, I say ineffable, unable to be described with words. Because again, we don't know who, what, where, when, why, nothing about it. All we know is that when we cry out for help, it helps us. Those who know. Those who don't believe, that's fine. You lose out on the help. I'm not trying to convince you. It would be like me trying to convince you to take this $1 million. Please take this $1 million. Please take this $1 million. Please take it. No, that's how I feel about my spiritual journey and my walk. The peace I've attained on this journey, the guidance, the it's priceless. So for me, when you ask where's the proof, it would be like there was a time I was going through a tough situation. And at this level of cultivation in my journey, it was just dealing with thoughts, because I remember a person asked me,
what have you done for God? What have you given up for God?
And I explained, please don't judge me when I say this, people, but I had to bang my gravel and say, that's not logical that I didn't give up anything for God, because when times got hard, I would just rob a drug dealer, or I would make a trip to another state, get what people needed, bring it to another state, and get it there, because I could make all that type of stuff happen. And now, not because I feel like I'll be punished or I'll be wrong, but because if I believe that God, the universe, Odin, is creating a path for me, helping me to get to that journey, and I try something else that I know this entity doesn't want that for me. Why doesn't it want it for me? Because can that entity that we call God not get me a blessing without me having to put my freedom in jeopardy, my life in jeopardy, my, like so many risks, so many things that can go wrong? Is that how God has to get it to me? And then that shows no trust, because I don't trust you. I trust my way to get it. But that's for me in my journey. But, as I'm going through these hard times, I'm having those thoughts in my head like, why don't you just go back? Why don't you just go back one time and you can invest that and turn it into so much you never have to go back? But then the other voice, the devil and the angel, the other voices reminded me, no, that's we don't need to do that. But I'm questioning, I'm doubting, I'm all those demons are getting into my head. And I look up, and on the billboard it says, "This is not the way to paradise." Right in that moment that I'm having those thoughts. Now, half of you will say coincidence, luck. Well, you guys can believe in coincidence, luck. I am a person who watches The Matrix and gets it. So I get the black cat twice, the phone ringing to get you out of the problems. I get that. So when that happens, that's the first step. Later on, as the day continues, my friend is pushing me to watch this anime. So I start watching it, and the guy is fighting on this mountain. And the higher up they get, closer to the reward, the harder it gets. And he's emphasizing this in that episode. And those are the coincidences that I say God speaks in, because what are the chances that I watch that on that day when I'm going through that situation? And then that night I get home, and I'm talking about a really frustrating time where everything's going wrong, and I'm still keeping it together. I'm not angry, I'm not upset, I'm not lost in emotion. I'm just having a lot of thoughts, trying to figure out what am I going to do next, worst case scenarios, planning, too much planning. And then a tarot card reader. That tarot card reading, it wasn't for me, it was on YouTube. It was general, but that's what makes it so powerful, that this person doesn't know me, and this is what God is using to talk to me through this season, amongst other things, amongst Buddhist teachings, amongst Christian teachings, amongst other things. But this has been a specific tool for this stage in the journey. Now, if you don't believe in God and you don't believe in the supernatural, the next level, how do you get that type of guidance? And when I say for years now, I'm always getting guidance on what to do next, where to go next. I look at situations and I say, I'm not stuck in situations. I'm supposed to be here right now for whatever reason, and I see it afterwards. So let's bring it all back and get back to love. So then how do we love God? If everybody's saying it, but there's no sacrifice, or there's no, there's nothing to prove that that's love, how do we? Here's what I believe. Judge Logic says, that's not logical how you guys are loving God. It's not logical to live whatever life you want and just say, I love God because I'm getting blessed. That's a genie in a bottle. And it's not a trade. It's not I do for God and God does for me. No. People doing evil things in the world operate in the law of karma, or reaping and sowing, or they even give to charities and donate because they know that it comes in, that it comes back. Loving God from Judge Logic's perspective. The one thing that God doesn't have control over or power over in this world, go ahead, strike me down. Sorry, religious folks, Pharisees, Sadducees, Christians, Jews, Muslims, over-religious people. God doesn't have power over us. We have free will. It's our greatest gift in this life. We can make any decision we want. We can do whatever we want. I can walk out this door and I can kill my security guard right now because God gave me the free will to do what I want. How do we love God? We use our free will to help others elevate, raise consciousness. Shout out to my friend Bax, rest in peace. He's on his next journey right now. Bax used to always say, we're shepherds of the earth. Bax was one of the people who I met early in my journey when I was still only in Christianity. If you do what all the prophets said to do, that's what they were saying, to become better people, to make a better earth, to make a better place, to make this all better. So if you want to love God, help people. That's what God can't do. God can't make us help others. God can't make us raise consciousness. You only raise consciousness when your consciousness is raised. That's why I always say, if you want to be more patient with people, more understanding, keep this in mind, write it down, get it tattooed. People can only operate at their level of consciousness. Here's an example. If somebody slaps me and I turn the other cheek because I've studied enough, I'm not saying I would do that. I'm not, I have different levels of understanding what that scripture meant, and we'll talk about that in another teaching. But I'm just using that as an example. If you have the patience and discipline to turn the other cheek after somebody slaps you in your face. And when I say patience and discipline, I mean, thinking really thoroughly of, this person slapped me because they were abused as a child, which gave them a complex of a bully, which makes, et cetera, knowing that life led them to make these decisions. And I'm going to be the wiser, bigger person and walk away from it. How could you expect that person to make the same decision as you when you worked to have this level of consciousness? You know the work you put in. Those who have raised their consciousness knows the work involved with raising consciousness. So how could you believe that person could make the same decision that you could make, knowing that you worked to attain your level of consciousness, and they didn't put in the work? So how could they make the same decision or the same choice? And it helps you become more patient with people because they're only operating at their level of consciousness. To love God is to love people, because that's what God doesn't have control over or power over, decisions we make. And that's why in Psalms it says, ye are gods of the earth. We are the gods of this earth. We control this here, not God. God helps, God assists. But if you believe that God is in control of this earth, then why does it look the way it looks? Why are kids dying? Why are people getting robbed? Why are entertainers getting paid more than healers? Why are it's ridiculous. Like, we see clear as day, we're in control of this, not a devil. Which leads me to closing, how I always close. To remember, beliefs guide us. Actions define us. Truth refines us. Religion divides us. Use your religion to get to God, not to separate from your brothers and sisters out here in the world. We're all human beings. We are all one. See this picture here? This is what all one means. See this picture here? This is a picture. It's a picture. But you can separate it. You can say that's a K, that's white, that's black, that's T, that's H. You can separate it, but it's a picture. Things get more difficult when you start separating. It's way simpler to just say this is a picture. That's the world. We are all one. And then we begin to separate religion, race, gender, etc., etc., etc. That's it. I'm out. Love you, people. Judge Logic.